welcome back to the 80th anniversary Batman movie Batstravaganza. We are now in 1993 and we're doing the review of Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. Batman Mask of the Phantasm was directed by Eric Radomski and Bruce Timm and starred Kevin Conroy as Batman and Bruce Wayne, as well as Dana Delaney and Mark Hamill. I'm going to give you the story in a nutshell without giving away too much, as well as the things that I enjoyed and the things that I didn't. So let's go ahead and get started. This story has an established Batman. He's been doing it for a while. He has the trust of Jim Gordon on his side. But somebody has started executing gangsters that have been established in the Gotham City mob for quite some time. And the fingers all point at Batman. So now the police force has banded together to stop Batman and his cold-blooded killing ways, and the mobsters are scrambling trying to figure out what to do because now Batman has finally crossed that line, even though he hasn't. Also, this movie tells the backstory of one Andrea Beaumont, who is Bruce Wayne's love interest back in his earlier years before he actually put on the cape and the cowl, and how she was almost solely responsible for him never becoming Batman in the first place. Of course, all of this past history comes together in a head between a character known as the Phantasm, Batman, and the Joker. So I said I was going to start with the things that I liked and then tell you the things that I didn't like. There's not going to be much that I didn't like about this movie. So I'll start with that and then get to the stuff that I loved. First, the animation isn't all that great. Yes, it was a movie, but it really had the style of the animated series, which wasn't exactly that great. Like, it was wonderful. Like, it had a style to it, but it wasn't the best. Like, there wasn't, 60 frames per second. It was more like 30, but in all honesty, that's really all I feel like complaining about. It's like a couple of color, things got wrong in post, and that's it. First, the tone that this movie takes with Batman is so serious. It is Shakespearean about the amount of weight that Bruce Wayne puts on himself to avenge his parents' death. Not necessarily at the person who killed his parents, but avenge his parents to what Gotham had become, this dirty and dark place that people don't feel safe in at night. And he has taken this vow so seriously that he feels guilty when Andrea Beaumont is in his life earlier when he was in his 20s or so. He says, I want to do this job, but I'm so happy. I didn't expect to be happy. What should I do? And that kind of gravity had not been seen in a Batman movie to date. In fact, we hadn't even heard mention of Thomas and Martha Wayne until Tim Burton's Batman. But even then, it was more talked about in, say, passing, or it was a flashback, and this kind of weight was never attached. We also get to see the birth of the character of Batman. In all of the movies before, he was already Batman. But this one had a flashback to where he was fighting criminals before he had the cape and cowl, and how he was so frustrated. They weren't scared of me, and they need to feel fear from what they're doing. And so it shows how he finally came up with the idea to put on a bat costume. Love that. Let's talk about the actors. And I'm not going to say just voice actors, but these are actors. What they did with the material is, bar none, fantastic. And we're going to start with Kevin Conroy. This is early in his Batman career, before he did like the Justice League cartoon, before he did the Arkham series, before he did some of the other movies that he's known to do. And he really played that young Bruce Wayne so magnificently, as well as the more established Bruce Wayne. I've said it before, maybe not on this channel, but I'm gonna say it now. Kevin Conroy is the very best Batman ever. This leads me to make my second statement. Mark Hamill is the best Joker ever. And if you weren't sure about it, you need to watch this movie, because the voice acting that he does in this, and this is a much fresher Mark Hamill. Now, it's a little bit drier, it's a little bit deeper. This is when he had a little bit more of a higher range to the timbre that he brought with the Joker. But one thing that he did is that when you could hear him change from that high to low, and you could see the Joker stewing, and you could see him simmering, and it was just so great. And then when he crossed this point of no return where it just seemed like all hope is lost, then he had this laugh, this cackle that you just can't get out of your head. It was so perfectly well done. And it won't be the last time that we hear Mark Hamill's laugh in a Batman movie. But this was the first time that we were introduced to it on film, and it is the best Joker interpretation. I don't want to leave out Dana Delaney's portrayal of Andrea Beaumont, who is the love interest for Bruce Wayne in his earlier years, and then she comes back to Gotham, and there may be a flame rekindling. She also finds out who Batman is because we have a smart female protagonist. It's about dadgum time. She figures out who he is based on their history, based on placement of characters at certain times, and she is no longer intimidated by this character. She also has a secret or two of her own, but I really enjoyed watching the backstory about who she was, what she meant to Bruce, and then what happens later. It is a little bit predictable at points, but the way that they somewhat end up, and I'm not talking about the climax, I'm talking about after the climax, I'm talking about the epilogue, where it ends up somehow leaves it maybe open-ended and there could possibly be something else, but you honestly don't need it. This movie was so close to perfect. You can say that it was perfection. This is Kevin Conroy's first on-screen rodeo with Batman. I couldn't have been more pleased. This was the first time that we saw Mark Hamill play the Joker on a big screen. Couldn't have been more pleased. And I love the darker tone that they took with it. The Batman animated series is one of the greatest cartoons of all time, and they took that and brought it a step further. There's blood in this. There's a lot of gunshots in this. It goes a little bit further than they could go in the TV show. And I really appreciated that because it, like I said, gave more gravity not just to Batman, but to the other characters as well. So after all that, I will say that even though I still like Batman Returns more, this movie is a must-see. So that's my review of Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below. You enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends, and as always, this is Cameron with CB Reviews. We'll see you next time.